What's up, guys, and welcome to the Marvel Rivals Art Challenge Part 7. Now, this week is an absolute banger. We actually get to draw Deadpool. We've wanted to draw Deadpool for a long time. We've seen a bunch of people in the comments request Deadpool, so we're finally going to do him. He's one of Marvel's most popular characters, the Merc with the mouth, and we've got a little bit of twist on it. So we spun a wheel, if you watched last week's challenge, where there was Vanguard, Duelist, and Strategist. Now, Rui got the Vanguard, I got the Strategist, and Melvin got the Duelist. Okay, so I feel like I got a bit of an interesting one with the Strategist, because you wouldn't typically see Deadpool in like the movies or the comments as someone who is a strategist. He sort of just goes in guns blazing, whether he gets his arm, his legs, or his head cut off, he just keeps fighting. So the storytelling aspect of this one's going to be a little bit of fun, to actually show why he's a strategist. You'll see how I actually apply that to his design and fit him within that Marvel Rivals universe. Okay, so make sure you stick around to the end to not only see the reveals, but then to see next week's challenge. With that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so as per usual, we have the rough anatomy sketch of Deadpool here. Now, you guys know that I'm doing a strategist. You're probably looking at me right now like, why has he got this huge gun here? Now, I'll explain that in a minute, but I just thought this would be a cool pose. I actually referenced it from this Deadpool statue that I saw online, which I think was really cool, and then obviously just angled up all the muscles, in that typical Rivals style with these, sharp little lines everywhere to make it look like he's really in that Marvel Rivals universe. Now, I'm pretty happy with the pose so far. We got to have the swords in there. Even though he's a strategist, he's still going to be able to do DPS, but I wanted his main thing to be healing. Deadpool, like Wolverine and maybe some other characters, they have a healing factor. So I wanted him to be able to use his healing factor to heal other players on the battlefield, and then also be able to do a bit of DPS and crowd control as well. I'll spend probably an hour or two on just the rough design of how the armor's going to look and really flesh out the actual bits and pieces of this weapon here. And we'll see if we can make Deadpool look like a strategist. So after maybe 2 hours of doing some of the design, I've got to this look, which I'm pretty happy with. Now, again, you still look at you still got a giant ass gun. So let me explain the thought process behind this. So if you're familiar with Deadpool, and obviously in the movie, he teams up with Cable, and I know that they do that in the comics a lot as well. So in this universe, Deadpool's from the X-Force, so instead of the red suit, he's got that black and white suit, and Cable has actually died in this universe. That has then made Deadpool want to heal other teammates or characters, in the game. So essentially, I've got the gun here. You can see that little cross there. Now, it's sort of a play on the X-Men cross, but turned vertically, so it's, the ambulance cross for healing. Now, you can see these cables coming down from the gun, and what I actually want them to do is, you can't see it, but they hook into his back, and they actually use his healing ability. They go up the cables, and they'll actually power this gun, so this whole section here will be like a glowing energy. I'm thinking yellow, because Cable had that glowing yellow eye, and he's going to be able to shoot that gun and be able to heal his allies. So I thought that was pretty sick. And then most of the other elements of the costume are pretty standard Deadpool stuff, like they got to have his belt with the pouches and things. Now I've added these sort of like test tube looking things, so I want to have them as one of his ability, where that's more of a throw to the teammate quick heal. So all these sections here, and this whole shoulder pad section here is straight up ripped from Cable. So he's not only using his gun, he's actually wearing some of Cable's armor just to sort of show that respect. And rest in peace, Cable. He's got the shoulder pad there, which is sick, the Cable's X-Men belt there. And then the rest of it's pretty standard, just some cool boots. The pants sort of go baggy here, which I noticed they do with a lot of rival characters. If you look at like Bucky and the Punisher and that. And I like that look personally, where they sort of bag out rather than just being skin tight to the quads. I left that for the abs area there, show off them shredded abs that Deadpool has. And then also I thought this was cool too, just have his little headpiece there, because, as a strategist, he's going to want to be able to communicate with his team a bit more, rather than just like that muffled noise that he has going through his mask. But yeah, kept in the swords, obviously, so maybe there's like a melee move that he can use with the swords. So we'll just we'll work on cleaning up the lines, and then we'll get into the colors. Okay, so I've gone in and I've cleaned up all the line work, and I'm going to use the technique that I used in the last video with Raphael and do the grayscale first and then add color on the top. So if you're watching and you want to learn how to add that color, I'm going to show you in the next part. It's a cool little tutorial and it'll help you get some really nice colors through the character. Now, if you've obviously watched my other videos, you know you got to add these cheeky little crisscrosses on angular parts of the character with that nice Rivals line work. And again, you got to vary your line weight. So you can see on the belt here that goes across his chest, the shoulder pad, because they sit forward and they're heavier elements to the design, you want to have a thicker outline. It just helps pop and bring them to the foreground. Whereas all these little internal lines, these are all quite thin. Okay, so you can see all these ones that I'm going over, they're all really thin. Now, like I said, I wanted to do the black and white costume of Deadpool because I've got the Strategist and the other boys have got the Duelist and the Vanguard. I don't know what they're going to pick. I assume they're going to go with the red costume, but I thought just to be a little bit different and have, you know, maybe it's a separate skin that you can get from the shop. Just have that black and white. So I think that'll look really cool in the game. And you can't forget to have the floating lines, you know, all of these ones here. Put them on the swords. I like to put them on certain curves. Also helps with that Rivals aesthetic with the line work. But yeah, I'd say overall I'm pretty happy with how he's looking so far. Now let's get on to the rendering and then we'll get into the color. So this is the fun bit where we start to render and then obviously we add color at the end. Now, as you can see, if I zoom in, you can see all these sort of rough shapes that are rendering. Now I've noticed with the Rivals style, some bits are like soft rendering with like an airbrush, but for the most part, they're blocky shapes. Okay, so you can see here on the quad muscle where that is the lightest. If I bring up the color panel here, you can see that's the lightest there. And then another shape there gets a little bit darker again, and then darker again. If I go, you can see that value shift move up and down. Now, another important thing is I've found when I'm rendering, and a lot of beginner artists will make this mistake, when they're rendering, so like say I bring it up, when they start shading, they're going to use all the way down here the super dark colors, and then they'll add a highlight and they'll go straight up to the top. And it's just very jarring to the eye. And if a professional was to look at it, they're going to notice that it's very amateur. So what I like to do is when you're rendering, even in the darker sections here, right, I'll bring that up. That's like almost black in the actual character, but that's only about, what, 15% or 20% from the darkest black. And then if we go to the brightest highlight so far, is even on there, maybe up on the head. See, it's not even, that's like barely even close to the top of the white. Okay, so that's like, let's say 60 or 70% up. So I like to render in between those values, say like 20% from the darkest and like 30% from the top. Render your whole character and then go in later and add those extra little highlights that are above 70% and add little shadows. And I'll show you what I mean. So we go here, we can see it's at 20%, go a little bit darker. I don't like to go all the way to black, but you get pretty close. And then you want to, say under that lat there, it's going to be super dark. Under the pec. Or maybe a car shadow from that shoulder. Under the belt there. See, even there you can already see that it's helped creating a little bit of 3D form. And then we, you know, under the chin's always a nice little place because it does help highlight the head, but in real life, like you do get quite a dark shadow under your chin as well. So obviously just super rough at the moment, but you sort of get the point. So like I said, render in between that 20 to 70% range and you'll get all your nice mid values. And then we've add the shadow, and then for, let's say, the forehead, we want to bring it up closer to that white area. And then render in some of the highlights there. Now, obviously, it's just the rough highlights at the moment. So obviously, when I clean it up, you're going to get these cool little render lines, the little cross-hatching. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. It's not really cross-hatch, but these little graphic shapes that Rivals likes to use. Don't forget to add those in. And you do that throughout the whole costume. I guess instead of using a gradient, sometimes you just use the lines to sort of make a stylized gradient, I would say. So you could say that's a highlight, and then I could hit that again. And if you really want to go in for more detail, you can even add a specular highlight in there that's slightly brighter. Now, all these things are subtle, But you do this throughout your whole drawing, and it's really going to help unify the values. It's going to look really cool. So we zoom out, you can see he's got a nice little highlight on his head there, as if the light was hitting him. So yeah, I'll go through and I'll clean up the rendering now, and then we'll get onto the color. Okay, so we've cleaned up the rendering. As you can see, I've got all these nice little lines going through here. Nice angular shapes. You know, the angular shapes, like, they don't have to be perfect. They just sort of have to fit the form of the character. So, like, a lot of beginner artists, I notice, they'll see a head and they'll be like, oh, let me do a circle for their highlight. With Rivals, and just to stylize your own artwork, even if it's outside of Rivals, just start to play with different types of shapes, you know what I mean? Because that mask, that's going to be material. So there's going to be slight little crinkles and movements in there. So this is just a stylized version of how you can render the highlights and shadows, do these cool angular shapes throughout the design, and it's going to look really good. Now, I mentioned before how I color. So we got the grayscale here. I'll select a section so I can show you. I won't get through the whole thing because that'll spoil the reveal, but I'll show you the process of how I do it. So you get the selection tool. So we'll go into the Deadpool layer here. Now I'll just get this whole shoulder section. Okay, so I've selected the shoulder section there. Now what you want to do is go to your gradient map. So you pull that gradient map up, clip it to the actual character. Alright, so if I click on this, it'll come up with a bar down the bottom here. Now you can put as many colors as you want here. I usually pick 4 or 5 from darkest to lightest, and I feel like that gives you a good color scheme. Now that dark color, we want that to be a dark shade of browny, yellowy orange. Come down here. Let's put that there. I like to put the mid-tone in, so that'll be nice goldy yellow. Let's see if we can get something nice here. Now, I'm no color expert, so I like to take my time when picking the colors, because once you have it once, you can actually save that palette, and then if you ever need a gold next time, you can just reuse that same thing. Same with your reds and blues and greens and all that. Okay, so we'll pick that for a mid-tone, not too saturated, which I think looks cool. Now we'll go in between the mid-tone and the shadow, so we'll bring the value back down a little bit. Really darken those shadows. I think about there's cool. Now we'll go above the mid-tone towards a highlight. Now the highlight's currently black, which will change to, you know, white. Get that nice metal shine. And not exactly white, but, you know, close to. There. And then we'll pick above the mid-tone and between the brightest highlight. So we'll go here. Nice yellow color in there. And now because I've rendered, I haven't gone from 100% black, what that color would be, to 100% white. So you can actually start shifting around these values and you'll see it changes in real time as you do it. Maybe bring up that shadow a bit, make some of the shadows darker. In the mid-tone there. Highlight's a bit too intense there, so we'll go, let's say about there. Okay, so that's basically how I would use a gradient map. So you can go through your character, select certain sections, and you know, maybe that belt's the same gold value, so I can just reuse that gradient map. That's really quick. If you're doing the original Deadpool design, you have a red, so that'll cover most of your suit. So you can sort of see when you get the hang of these gradient maps, you can actually get through the coloring really quick after you've done the grayscale rendering. And you can see that that's really cool. So I just feel like it's a better way than just highlighting it and using color or overlay, because you get some real nice color variation when you're doing it like this, and then the overall character, all the colors are going to look nice and unified. So I'm going to go through the rest of this character, color Deadpool up with the gradient maps, then we're going to get onto the big reveal with the boys, and also show some of his abilities. What's going on, boys? Yo. What's happening?
I'm back.
Oh, we are back. And
Deadpool.
We got an absolute banger for this one. We got Deadpool. We've had tons of people asking about it. We finally drew him. And
First time we got the same character.
First time same character.
Yeah.
And I got the Strategist. My first Strategist. So I'm pretty excited to show you boys.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
super interesting to see a Strategist Deadpool too.
I'll count it down and then it'll take 3 years to load. But 3, 2, 1.
Oh, damn.
Shit. Okay. I didn't expect that
Yeah.
this is... Whoa.
Alright, so color scheme wise, did any of you guys pick the color scheme or no?
No, I
with your-
didn't.
Nah.
No.
Okay, yeah.
You'll see mine. Mine's weird.
Okay, cool. Because I know in the comic of that there's like I'm pretty sure it's the X-Force Deadpool, which he has like the black and white suit, which I thought would be sick. And he's a strategist, so I did want him to look a bit more unique. But you're probably looking at him, you're like, why has he got a big gun?
No, I see the health symbol on the gun.
Yeah. So basically it says in the text, but I'll break it down. The story behind this one is he's in a universe where he was X-Force and he was teamed up with Cable, but Cable's been killed. So basically he's ripped his armor, he's rejigged his gun, and the tubes that come from the gun, they actually link into Deadpool's spine, and then that he has his healing factor and he's able to shoot it out of the weapon. Yeah.
That's very cool.
I was looking for ways to make him be able to be a healer, and I thought that would be a pretty sick way. And it's reminiscent of Cable's pose, the gun, the shoulder pad, everything like that. So
now, did he take his shoulder pad? Is that Cable's shoulder?
Yeah, that whole.
Nice.
I mean, most of the stuff that's like different from Deadpool in here is like sort of Cable inspired. The rest of it's pretty standard Deadpool gear, but like the 2 katanas and that. But
you want to know something really funny?
Yeah, what?
My one also has tubes in it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Tube Unity. You dog.
Tube pull.
This is sick. I'm surprised that you went with the X-Force color scheme.
Yeah.
That is, it's a risky one, but it's cool because like I thought it'd be like a separate skin, but it'd be cool because you can basically turn it into like a Deadpool color variant, also like a classic one.
Yeah, 100%. Like I thought, I had a feeling you guys might do the red and black, which I'll find out, but I just wanted to look different, and then maybe even if this was like a skin in the shop, you know what I mean? You can just purchase it as that X one, which I thought would be sick. But yeah, nothing super complicated, but definitely inspired by some of your guys' last strategists. With the bit of storytelling in there to make the design make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That like the use of his regeneration is it's top notch. I love that.
And I think that it like feeds into the design, right? Like how you got the tubes. Of course, it's going to be tubes like from his body into the gun. Yeah, stuff for that reason. Yeah.
Speaking of his healing factor and abilities, let's get the abilities page up here.
Yeah.
You
made him a very difficult character. I realized.
I did 5. I did 5 stars. Look, honestly, I'm not sure if he's going to be that difficult, but I thought it'd be a bit of fun because I haven't done any 5-star difficulties yet. So
yeah, we've just been leaving the 3 stars in.
Let's just see the comments of all the people that are angry that he's 5 stars. All right,
He's just a shooting hero.
He looks easy as to play.
That's so easy.
All right, I got the abilities in there, so bring that up and I'll run you through it.
Okay, sweet. I've got it up.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So basically, the left click is just burst mode. So that's where he can actually still do damage out of his gun. Immortality beam is the heal. So that's just like literally like a constant flow of healing energy. Mm-hmm. I feel like Rui's reading one of the moves that he's having a giggle.
I read the ultimate by accident.
Yeah. So you got his passive is maximum effort. So basically, he has a move called Regen, Degen, and Immortality Beam. And basically, the more you land those hits, it enlarges their area of effect, so the beam would get thicker. And
that's cool.
Regen, Degen is basically. Oh, actually, it wasn't. It was actually meant to be violent splash that increases, but I'll fix that later. Anyway,
you accidentally cooked the names.
Yeah, that's all good though.
So they swap them.
So swap the violent splash in there instead of Regen Degen.
Okay.
But Regen Degen, I thought it was cool because obviously he's got the healing factor. He's basically an immortal. So you activate it if you're below 30% health, and if you're fatally wounded in that time. So imagine you just getting stomped by like 3 guys. Then you actually remain alive, and then you get an overshield for all the damage that was just dealt to you. So you sort of, you imagine being on the point last one, you're like, I gotta hold the line. You get killed, but then you stay alive for X amount of time. Hopefully a healer or someone comes back, or you can survive.
I love moves that like get the enemy team to also consider the move. So it's like if they see you pop that, they're like, stop hitting him, stop hitting him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But because imagine it gets so chaotic, you see someone at 30%, you're just going to tunnel vision, like try to kill them. So I'd assume that happened quite a bit where he just keeps coming back to life. So yeah, the violent splash, which is, he's got all these little sort of yellow test tubes within his costume. So you basically, it's like his modified blood. So you throw that onto the ground. It's kind of gross, but
Yeah.
still cool. Like splashes on the ground. Your allies run through it and they can heal, and you also heal when you run through it. But you can, if you move over it, you'll do like a slide dash. So it adds a bit to his mobility.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a hell of a lot of mobility as a strategist, but I feel like that would be a cool way to just quickly get out of battle if you need to, or slide in.
Yeah.
Cutback is just, he whips out the katanas, does a slash, and knocks enemies back to give them a bit of space, which I thought was pretty standard, but that'll definitely help in a fight, yeah. And he's old. I thought this would be sick. So
That's such a good name.
So a lot of the ults in the game with the strategists, like they're literally just like, I pop this, you can't kill us, right? And then besides maybe Jeff's, where he swallows everyone and can spit him off the edge, he's probably the only different one besides I'll save everyone. But this time, Forceful Friendship Laser. Shoots out a beam that groups enemies in their path together, and you move them where you like with increased movement speed for a short duration. So essentially you want to aim. So it shoots out one beam, and whoever gets stuck in it, they get gripped to the beam. You essentially want to aim for the back line. And because you have increased movement speed, you want to either strafe left or right and collect all the team in front of it. And you've just got all these guys.
And it's just like this wave of like, it's like when Groot stabs through all those guys in Guardians of the Galaxy and just swings them.
Yeah, exactly like that. So you can just swing him. And I thought just fun stuff. You imagine certain maps where there's an edge next to you, swing them all off the edge and cut delays, they all drop off. Like, if they're all on the point, grab them off the point, swing them off the point, or just hold them in place so your team can melt them.
So good.
Yeah, I thought
that's actually so good.
I thought that would be absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, because like we forget a lot of strategists is also crowd control.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's that's a very cool ultimate.
Yeah, that's fun. Love the name and everything.
I can imagine just the clips online for that one that'd be great. Swinging people off the map and shit.
Yeah,
the best.
Many memes.
Nah, that's sick. That's sick.
Yeah,
man. Look, I had a few ideas if I ever landed on Deadpool as a strategist, and you actually went like complete opposite to those ideas, which is my favorite part about these videos.
I know,
honestly,
it's so good.
Yeah.
Like you never know what the other person's got to do.
Yeah. I was preparing myself if I got strategists as well, and like ideas are just completely different.
Yeah. No, it's cool to see what each artist sort of has in their mind for the role that they get. So yeah, no, that's my Deadpool strategist. And if you want to see Rui's Deadpool, make sure you go over to his channel. And if you want to see Melvin's Deadpool, go over to his channel. And stay tuned for next week's challenge.
All right, so now we're in the next challenge where we're going to actually draw characters from the series Invincible. So we've been pretty hyped with this one. And we're going to be bringing back the wheel to show us which characters we're going to draw.
Correct.
The wheel. The wheel of fortune or the wheel of doom?
The wheel is back.
Bring it up, Rui.
Yeah. Alrighty, the wheel.
All right.
The wheel.
Who do we have?
We've got Invincible, the main character. It'd be funny if you cut and then add the Invincible title just before I say his name. Anyways.
That's perfect. Do that.
Yeah, we're going to all do that.
We've got his puppy, Omni-Man.
Puppy.
And we've got Jackson's favorite.
Battle Beast.
Battle Beast.
All right, let's
this
just
is
spin.
like... We can spin it, and well, who's up first? Rui, you go first?
I'll take the first one.
You go first. You got any preference?
My dad.
Let's go.
All right.
So you want Omni-Man? Jackson wants Battle Beast?
He's getting Battle Beast. Rui gets Battle Beast. Oh, dude. This is going to be sick.
I got the beast.
Oh, that's mint.
Yeah,
all right, now we have a bit of a duel, Mel. So I think,
all right, duel.
So I think
it was
last
us two.
time,
Yeah.
It was us, huh? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it hits, you take this time, and I'll get the opposite one.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yep.
You ready?
Done.
I'm happy with either of these, honestly.
Yeah, I'm happy with them.
Jackson's getting the main character for sure.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll get it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Omni-Man.
There we go.
Nice.
That's sick. There we go. We got it. There we go.
Nice
All right.
and easy.
I've got Battle Beast. Melvin's got Omni-Man.
And I got